Well, Kristin Brown is a gun control advocate with the Brady campaign to prevent gun violence, and she joins us now. Kristin, good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
With stricter gun control laws, a lot of people are asking, would they have prevented this weekend's shootings?
Well, in America today, we have an epidemic of gun violence. We have 40,000 Americans every year in this country shot and killed by guns, 80,000 more injured. We've lost more Americans to gun violence in this country since 1970 than all America's wars combined, which is a really hard fact to take in. So what that means is there is not going to be any one thing that's going to solve the epidemic. When you look at mass shootings, as horrific as these are, and they are absolutely horrific, they account for about 2% of all gun deaths in America today. The common denominator that we find in shooting after shooting, and El Paso really is no different, unfortunately, than Dayton, is the role of assault-style weapons and high-capacity magazines.
So is that what the Brady campaign is sort of advocating against, then, these kinds of weapons?
We believe that Congress did the right thing when it banned assault weapons for about a decade. We think that it's a problem that that ban was allowed to lapse. We think that a ban should be reinstated, and we think there should be restrictions on high-capacity magazines. The person in Dayton had a 100-round magazine. Nothing good has ever happened from the 11th or 12th or 13th round of a magazine. But as I said, that's addressing about 1% to 2% of gun violence. We also need expanded background checks, and we need extreme risk laws, what the president today referred to as red flag laws.
Kristin, a lot of people are asking, apparently the Walmart in El Paso was a gun-free zone. A lot of people are wondering what would have happened had one of those shoppers also been armed. What's your response to that?
Well, like many Americans, I've been watching the coverage of El Paso, and actually a lot of the shoppers did have guns. One of them was interviewed, and actually he was kind of a tactical expert with guns. He didn't use the gun for two reasons, and this is typically the case regardless of the area where a mass shooting takes place. Number one, he didn't want to be mistaken by as the shooter, which is a real problem. Number two, he didn't want to shoot the wrong person. In these kind of situations, unless you've been there and experienced something that is akin to combat, we can all say, oh, this is what we would have done. That's what we would have done. Talk to police officers, talk to combat veterans about what it's like on the field, and then you'll understand that even trained officers of the law hit the right target less than 50% of the time.
What about other factors in all of the debate? More talk about mental health and issues like that, the culture.
Well, I think that we do have to look at the culture. One of the aspects of the culture that you've been covering that I think all of us as Americans need to understand is words matter and leadership around issues matter. Our culture is too divisive in this country today, and I don't think that the bully pulpit of the presidency should be used to divide. I think it should be used to unite. I would love better options for people who have issues with mental health. I think we need better health care coverage in this country. When it comes to gun violence, though, I would like to note the American public, the American populace, doesn't suffer from a greater degree of mental illness than any other people in any industrialized country in this earth. We have a lot more gun violence because we have a lot more guns.
Well, Kristin Brown, we have to leave it there, but thank you so much. We appreciate your insights.
Thanks.